Like these
Yeah.
last couple days, I literally couldn't walk. The swelling in my feet and my knees was so bad that like, yeah, I couldn't walk, and the backs of my knees were like cracked. So like bending them and going in and out of air conditioning and all the weird things. Like, I was like considering, I was like, oh my gosh, do I need like a wheelchair right now and like a hospital
Wow.
bed? You know, like I was like looking into rentals.
You've been seeking answers from every dermatologist, doctor, and all over the internet, wondering what on earth this unbearable skin issue is. You know something's up, and you've been suffering and silenced for far too long. This podcast is going to bring awareness to the brutal reality that is topical steroid addiction and withdrawal syndrome. It will give you practical mental and physical tips to help you along your journey and provide you the strength you need to push through each day. You'll hear from real people battling this illness, as well as experts in the field, and I'm also going to share with you what's happening as I battle and conquer TSW. You are not alone, you're not crazy, and you will heal. If there's one thing I know, it's that anyone going through this hell is a warrior. My name is Jennifer Powers, and I welcome you to TSW Journey to Healing.
All right. I want to welcome Luke Spaulding to the show. Luke, thank you so much for being on TSW Journey to Healing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Pretty wild to stumble across that Facebook group and your podcast and kind of roll into this. So very grateful to have somebody to talk to, you know, about it, because it's been a long journey of like, you know, of course you many understand, like in the dark. So.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. So, like, let's start right. Let's get right into it. Tell anyone listening to this episode like a little bit your background, where you're from, and how you discovered TSW and that you had it.
Well, I am 32 years old. I grew up around Los Angeles, up in the high desert, in Palmdale as a kid, and then throughout the city as a young adult. And since I was a young kid, I was diagnosed with eczema since as far as I can remember. And with that, I'd been using topical steroids probably since I was, really don't know. I can look back at my records, but it's probably around 3 or 4 that they prescribed them to me, and basically said the same thing a lot of people hear is, oh yeah, he'll grow out of it by the time he's like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, something. And never grew out of it, and just used steroids for decades.
Yes, I can relate to you on that. Same story for me. Yep.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, I was super suspicious of it. When I was a little kid, I was like, I was like, Mom, are you sure this is, you know, really okay to be, you know, using it so much? And the doctors, I mean, it was kind of the typical thing where it's just the strength and application frequency just kept going up and up and up. And originally the only caution was like, just don't put it on your face. It thins the skin on your face and your eyelids. But then it started spreading to my face, and then the doctor was like, well, just put it on your face. You know. And when I was a kid, I was like, this got to do something. Like, this got to affect your like mental state, emotions, like, you know, I don't know, like it felt like a no-brainer to me when I was a little kid. And everybody's like, oh, no, you know. And then in my early 20s, I started like kind of looking into it. This was around like 2010 to 2015 or so. When I kind of had an understanding about TSW, but I didn't find as much information as there is now. I feel like I was actually like recently, I was like kind of like shocked that there's so much experience being shared and knowledge about it now, because I feel like years ago when I was like looking into it, like it was like still super cloudy, and I definitely felt super alone. Like nobody knew what I was talking about, and everybody said like, you know, no, that's kind of crazy. Keep using this stuff. Keep going. So So I don't know. So I think like I like, kind of like tried and fell off and tried and fell off because I had no real anybody saying like, yeah, it might be a good idea. You know, not even like one person. So I never really fully committed, and just been going through these cycles of the TSA for yeah, kind of forever until um, until recently. It was really bad. It was getting really bad this past winter. Um, and I had weaned myself down to only hydrocortisone, but then again, over the counter. But then
Hmm.
again, I was like putting it in my entire body. Like I was going through like at some points like a tube a day, like of like little, probably like 4 ounce tubes.
Wow.
Um, yeah, pretty bad. Like I just started like you like I like there was one point where like I got to a point where I was like maybe I should just listen to what everybody's been saying this whole time and just like use it because I've been like half-assing it. Like I'm like not fully committed to using the steroids. So I'm like maybe I just got to go full out and then I'll see effects.
Oh God.
But then I just took it overboard because I was like not supervised, and even if I was under supervision, it was the same thing. It went from hydrocortisone to triamcinolone to clobetasol to fluoxetine, whatever, like all the way to like liquid, just pure alcohol tincture drops that just penetrate every cell, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like either way it was the same. And I got to the same state. It's not like it was any different. I got to just like total red skin everywhere, just puffy, just total oozy everything. And one night I was watching a movie on Netflix, just trying to chill, and it was Awakenings by, not by, it has starred uh, Robert De Niro and Robin Williams.
Okay.
Um, and not to put any spoilers out there, but essentially, like, Robin Williams plays this doctor, and there's just like this like monologue in there where they're talking about all these new drugs and these use cases, because he's been having this new drug that he thinks will work on the Robert De Niro's character. But they're talking about all these like weird effects, you know,
Hmm.
and they had mentioned cortisone as an injectable, I think, and as an oral regimen, which has the side effects of causing psychosis, uh,
Wow.
which is that's real. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't think it's very common to use. Like typically, somebody's going to get like prednisone or something if it's an oral regimen or an injectable or something like this. Or at least that's what I would get when I'd get really bad. They'd just be like, "Oh yeah, here you go." Boop.
Yep.
Um, so then like something just hit it, like just like struck a chord. It just like hit me. I was like, yeah. I was like, I need to look back into this. You know, like even like
Yeah.
even like giving it a try because I'd totally given up and I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna like bathe in this stuff, you know, do like wet wraps with it or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, that's wild. And I was like really felt like I was going crazy. Like actually like not just like the like stress and anxiety from the red skin and all that, but like there was a point where like I just kind of felt like I was like going crazy. And you know, like I started thinking about just like how I mean I'd be applying this like over open wounds,
Yeah.
like right under my eyelids, like everywhere, you know,
Yeah.
and on my lips. I taste it when I'm applying it around my lips,
Oh gosh.
you know. So it's probably
Yeah.
going in there. So then I like, you know, then I just went down this rabbit hole like that instant. It was like midnight, you know, and out of nowhere, there's all this like anecdotal evidence and all these like things in other countries and all this stuff that I've never seen before. I was like, holy cow, what? You
Hmm.
know? And then that was like in like the big, like maybe like the 1st of February this year. And then I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm done. And then I just stopped everything and then, you know, went into the withdrawal.
Did you? Okay. So it was February of 2022, right?
Yeah,
This past.
right.
Okay. So you're now, let's see, February, March, April, May, June. You're in five. You're okay. You're in like month five. So how has it been going?
Pretty awesome.
I know, stupid question, but we got to ask it.
Yeah, I'm like
Did
laughing.
you? Well, let me back up before you tell me how it's been going. Did you have the support of friends or family or in your network? Did you let everybody know like what you were doing? Did you kind of keep it to yourself? How did that go?
My girlfriend has been one of the biggest supports, which is really wild to to be in this position to have somebody who's so caring and loving and but aside from her, I mean, I'm out here in Oklahoma. I'm not from here. I actually moved here last February. Moved here to start a cannabis farm. So don't really know many people out here. The people who I do know in the neighborhood or surrounding area, they all kind of know actually. So everybody like is pretty understanding. Now I'm like actually starting to really reach out for support. In the beginning, I kind of kept it to myself. Like, I like, yeah, kind of, and that's what I'd been doing. Like that was a pattern for my entire life. Is like when like it would just like go into that like really just heavy red skin thing. I would just like not do anything. I'd not go out, not do anything for like months until it got better. Then I'd be like, oh, hey guys. So that's what I was like started to do in the beginning. But with building this business, it's like really pushing me in ways that it's like really wild to do these two things at once. It's like pushing me in ways that I would never like really. I mean, I guess I am choosing into it, but like it's just a very special situation to be choosing into all this. And so I'm like so committed to the success of this farm and just keeping in progress that I'm like reaching out for support to kind of everybody and just like figuring out ways that it makes sense for everybody and actually being creative and finding like workarounds and solutions that I wouldn't have thought about if I like could walk. Like these last couple days, I literally couldn't walk. The swelling in my feet and my knees was so bad that like, I couldn't walk, and the backs of my knees were like cracked. So like bending them and going in and out of air conditioning and all the weird things. Like I was like considering, I was like, oh my gosh, do I need like a wheelchair right now and like a hospital bed? Like I was like looking into rentals. And then I just kind of just took it easy, and just asked a few people to help me do what I'd normally do. Like I'm like bootstrapping the farm, and I didn't really like think that I'd be like, I kind of like prepared for like down the road. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set up these like systems to where like if I'm out, then like everything's still running. But like I wasn't prepared to like do that right now, But luckily, like there's like a lot of good people around, and I've been like involving people a lot, so people are really excited to help. And kind of like even like the other day, I had a bunch of big bags of soil, and I made like a little hospital bed with to like raise my feet on it, and just kind of laid in this bed of soil.
Oh my gosh.
And like just kind of directed everybody, and it was like a huge like lesson from like just like myself in management and like a check, like an ego check, because I think I have this pattern of like leading from the front and like needing to validate my leadership based on like action and doing sometimes. So like when I'm like just sitting, I feel like maybe like not as, I don't know, it's just there's something there that I'm working through, and this is like really helping me. It's like literally just like throwing me on the ground saying, hey, like this is your medicine.
Oh, I love that. I have like chills. That's so good. That's so good. I can't imagine, I don't know, for a lot of us, me included, heat can sometimes be a major trigger. And as somebody who, I like to work out, I like to be in the sun, all that stuff. There was times in my journey, because I'm now, let's see, we're in June, since December. So January, February, March, April, May, June. I'm counting on my fingers right now when I'm doing that. So I'm in month 6 or 7, like it's somewhere in there. And I mean, I couldn't do the heat in the first few months. Like, I don't even think up until month 5, I could really do it too well. So I give you all the credit in the world, because between like the outdoors and like the plants and the bugs and the heat, it can be like all of them can flare us up, trigger us. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
there's definitely a lot of elements. Where are you located?
I am outside right now. I am at my family's beach house. We have a place in Ocean City, New Jersey, but usually during the school year, September through, May or June, I'm outside of Philadelphia. So
Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
What's like the
yeah.
humidity like there? Is it pretty humid in Philly?
Yeah, it can be. It can be. I mean, it's not as bad as like Washington D.C. It's not like that, but it's always pretty. I mean, down here, obviously, I'm surrounded. I'm all in the bay, so there's like the ocean breeze, the water, like it's a lot less humid down here for sure. If I was back
Yeah.
home in the summertime, it's a lot. But whether it's humid or it's not humid, sometimes just like I don't know, just like simple, like a very light exercise, or even just sitting in the sun and the sun's hot on
Yeah,
you, like
yeah, yeah.
it's just it's so weird because there could be like a week where it doesn't seem to bother me too much. It could be a week where I'm like, oh my God, I'm instantly in a mad itching frenzy. Right. So
Uh-huh.
it's just, this is one of those bizarre conditions that we have that we find ourselves scratching our head like all the time, at least for me.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
weird
like,
because it throws out so many different symptoms, it's like, and it's like
yeah,
feels like it's random, but
hmm
I think there's a rhythm to it.
yeah,
Uh,
I agree. It's a matter of like
yeah,
really getting in
but
tune with your body and really kind of
yeah,
getting to know what's up.
yeah, and your environment, like you're saying, like out
Yeah.
here, like I'm on the farm, I just have like this little fifth wheel trailer. It's like this, the tiniest little area, just like get, like out of
Yeah.
the elements, but outside, it's like hot for
Yeah.
sure. The bugs, like if a mosquito, just the littlest one, it gets you, and that itch, the mosquito itch actually isn't that bad, but you go through this stuff, like a mosquito gets in, you're like, oh, but
Yeah.
touch it a couple times, you like inspire the other thing,
Right. Right.
and then like all the alarms are going off, and it's like, yeah. So I'm like slowly developing this like rhythm of like planning just a couple steps of what I'm gonna do. I go outside, I do a couple things, and right before I start overheating, come inside, sit
Smart.
down, and
Yeah.
like, but I can't sit inside for too long because this air conditioner makes it dry, and like going like too much dry to humid is like, so as soon as I cool off, I got to get outside because my like the cracks in my legs actually feel better when I'm outside in the humidity, So it's like
Yeah.
there's so many weird like nuances. I'm like feel super blessed to be in this position where like I can work on my own hours, and
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
I can work in the middle of the night, whatever, because I'm like, like
Yeah.
the sleep, is all over the place if there is sometimes, so like I super feel, and my heart goes out to people who, are on a schedule, and other people's schedule as children or different job, or, because that would be, that's super, I totally
I know.
understand why people would like need to step away from their job or school for it, because I
Yeah.
mean, I'd be sinking right now if I was like on strict hours.
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's heartbreaking. I mean, all these people that are getting let go, people are having their children like taken from them because they're trying to parent their poor children and don't want their kids to be on steroids. It's like it's just such a disastrous. I mean, I'm so
Wow.
happy that we have people like you that are like willing to be on the show and like talk about their experience. Like the more and more we can put it out there, hopefully there'll be a slow, well, a lot more awareness, but a slow beginning of the end of this nonsense because
Yeah.
it's so debilitating and it's devastating, really, for all of us.
Yeah.
What's your? I mean, not to make you get like getting itchy or bring up some bad memories, but like your first couple months for me, months 1 through 4 were by far the hardest because not to say that I didn't have horrible symptoms come up in like month 5, and I definitely had, knock on wood, a big huge improvement come around the end of month 5, beginning of month 6, but um I I think it was the most hard. Number one, yes, the symptoms were going haywire. They were absolutely the worst, but also
Uh-huh.
the mental shock of like, I had no idea it was going to be as bad as it was. I had none of us have a clue what it's going to end up being like. And,
Hmm.
we're in that Facebook group and we get connected to other people going through it and we hear the stories and we see the pictures, but it's just a whole nother thing when you are going through it and you're reacting and your body is like, it's just such a shocking thing. So
Yeah.
how was it for you in the beginning?
You know what? I was actually pretty prepared
Oh,
because
good.
because I've been going through the cycles for a while, and I tried to quit for a while, just on my own intuition.
Yeah.
And so seeing people's documented cases and what they're going through, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Totally.
But I thought I was gonna be super okay. I was like, it's gonna be like 3 weeks and I'll be fine, because like last year it actually like magically weaned myself off. And this is a whole other tangent I could get into or not, whatever. But long story short, I was in a bunch of situations where I was like working some friends' farms in Mendocino in Northern California and also in Southern Oregon. And in those climates, like my skin does really, really well. So I was in these two places, like doing really fulfilling things for myself, and in these nice, like really diverse biomes in the redwoods and in Southern Oregon. There's like a lot of life, a lot of microbial activity. I feel like a lot of that is also like a whole nother part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like going in between there, and then I transitioned out here to Oklahoma. And as I came out here, just as spring progressed, by like midsummer, my skin was like perfect. It was like the craziest thing. I'd never experienced it in my life. And I just like magically, accidentally just like fell off of the steroids and off of everything, just like into
Wow.
just like super well-being. And it was crazy because like I wasn't allergic to dogs anymore.
Wow.
Could like cuddle with the dog for the first time in decades, which like made me cry, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
And yeah, like I'd like go to the gym and just like rinse off and just like leave, like not do anything, not put on like moisturizers, like all this like just like blew my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
Working outside, like sweating like crazy in wood piles, the chainsaw, just like all sorts of sawdust and dirt and bugs getting all over me, and like it was fine.
Wow.
Super strange. And then so at the like October last year, I'd gone out to Los Angeles, drove out there and back to move my girlfriend out here with us.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out there, like the traveling kind of set a little bit of things off. Like I'd started getting some of the little bumps, the little red bumps that like for me eventually turn into like little micro blisters, and then eventually accumulate into like red skin. But they were just like the little ones. And I was like, I'm gonna jump on top of this. This is where that logic came in, where I'm like, I'm just gonna get ahead of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that like half in, half out thing anymore. Like I'm gonna like try their advice. And then it just like started getting worse and worse and worse until and then we're here.
Yeah,
But
that's crazy. Isn't it
anyways,
crazy that like something like that we kind of grow up, like if you're a kid or even a young adult or whatever, where you get diagnosed with, it's those three things together. It's like eczema, allergies, a hay fever. It's like the asthma, allergy, like that whole thing. So I grew up, having said, oh, you have allergies too. And I was allergic to dogs and horses and hay and pollen and all that stuff. And then the more and more we grow up and we start to like educate ourselves on it and really do a little bit more digging, you come to find out like, no, you're not really supposed to have allergies. And it's not like a life sentence that you have to have them. You can actually get, in some ways, like cure yourself of them or heal yourself from them. And it's like, I totally can relate to you, because I'm such a huge dog lover, animal lover, but like, it's sad when you see like one of those beautiful dogs walk by and you just want to like give them a hug and like, you're like, nope, I can't do that. It'll cause me, I'll just be crazy uncomfortable. Right. So it is.
Now it's interesting. I don't know if you have the same experience, but do you, how are your allergies now?
Whenever I am down down here by the by the ocean, by the water, they're almost like non-existent. Like I don't. So back in Pennsylvania though, I mean like, and it's a pollen season. Sometimes it's like a crazy pollen season. Sometimes it's not so bad, but when it is bad, it was terrible. I think, I don't know. It was like last year. It was awful for me, but
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
hopefully,
now like I'm experiencing, also working with the cannabis plants, I developed a pretty intense allergy to them eventually for a while I had to like suit up, like looking like a hazmat guy just to work with any plant.
Really?
Yeah, because when like a leaf would just like kind of, and this is like a lot of people do have these allergies, and but I think you can like kind of like, I don't know what it'd be called, adapt your body to them. But yeah, you kind of like brush your arm up against them, and like I'll just get like little hives. But eventually, like my body started overreacting to them. You know, the hives would just get like more intense every time I touch a plant.
Really?
But
that was
now
only when
that
you would touch the plant, not if you would like consume or smoke or like, you know, however you would
right,
take
yeah,
cannabis. That's interesting.
just the and yeah, and I'm not sure. There's I'm sure there's something with the anatomy of the plant that has to do with it, because
Yeah.
when I do know that like if I just apply like any type of extracted oil from the plant and there's no plant material in it, then it doesn't irritate my skin. So it's something with like the physical plant matter.
Interesting.
Whether it's like, I think it might have to do with like the little pistils, they might have like kind of like silica in them, but it's veg plants too. So I don't know. That
Interesting.
could be a number of things, but ever since I've been off of the steroids, I haven't really had reactions to the plants like that, except for on the places where like my skin is like pretty lesioned and like already overreacting, and I'll
Right.
kind of overreact to other stuff. But like cannabis plants haven't really been reacting to, nor like the dried flower, like breaking it up, or if I'm gonna like roll a joint or
Yeah.
something, or like
Yeah.
alfalfa. Like alfalfa would normally just like make me just like instantly sneeze like 50 times as
Yeah.
soon as I touch it. And right now I've been laying out alfalfa and it's not doing
That's
anything. So I
interesting.
don't know. So I think it also has to do like there's so many factors. I think a lot of it, like we were talking about too, for me in Oklahoma, like my body just loves it. Like the only other place I've experienced like this level of like symbiosis with my environment is in Hawaii.
Oh, don't even
And
get me
then like
started. It's like the best place.
yeah, and then the next level would be like Northern California, Southern Oregon, and then in Los Angeles, my body's like on red alert. I feel like
Yeah.
not only with like the allergens and stuff, but I also feel like just like the pace of life out there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like constant like fight or flight. You know,
Yeah.
like there's so many advertisements like grabbing for your attention, and you're driving around like on constant offense and defense, and it's
Yeah.
just like a super high stress environment. That combined with allergens, combined with potentially like, you know, whatever the, you know, red skin syndrome, like it
Mhm.
spirals out really fast. But I think also now with this understanding that of the you know, the addiction, that
Mhm.
going back to somewhere like LA, just staying on my normal regimens, like, you know, like I have a bunch of like, I don't know, kind of like holistic ways that manage like my normal eczema. Like I might have normal eczema for sure, and that's all that stuff's super easy to manage. But like, you know, like the saying is like this is an eczema, like, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
if, you know, going back to somewhere, I think I can actually like be comfortable back in LA if I don't go back there and instantly jump to the steroids, but rather like really take care of myself, you know.
Yeah.
So
With the holistic approach. Yeah. What would you say has been like your worst? Everybody has different answers. I think the most common one is obviously the itch, but what would you say out of all these bizarre and awful symptoms and side effects that we get from withdrawing from steroids, what would you say was the worst for you?
they're all pretty weird. I was pretty prepared for it. Like I said, I kind of been going through the cycle. So like once I realized I was gonna quit and seeing all the experiences, like I was like, oh yeah, okay. I was kind of like prepping my girlfriend too. I was like, this might be really fucked up.
It's so true. I
You
did the
know,
same thing
and
with
then
my
I was like kind of
boyfriend.
like tripping. I was like, oh my God, like this is gonna be like, I remember this, like this is, you know, and I really had to like, I was like prep myself because I knew like, you know, it's just gonna, so the ooziness, like that's like, it just all is compounding, you know, when everything's too oozy, I just feel like can't I cannot be like, I can't lay in bed like oozy and stuff. It just feels like, ah, no, you know, so I'll like get up and like just like stay up all night or something. And then like that spirals into like poor sleep habits. So I
Yeah.
think for me, the worst thing is like the not sleeping. Like I can manage, like I can put up with all the pain and just like suck it up. Like it really sucks so bad, but I can like I can suck it up, but on no sleep,
Oh, so
I
awful.
feel like I'm going crazy, you know, like it's like really bad for my mental state, and like I'm
Definitely.
anxious, depressed, like just like confused, brain
Yeah.
fog, like doing math, like simple math, like doing it incorrectly, you know.
Yep.
So then I'm like, I really got to check myself. Like, oh my God, like even like I'm like taking breaks coming inside the trailer from the heat, but I'm like, I even got to take like mental breaks, you know, and like just like check myself, not like,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm like running a business too. It's not like I'm just like, you know, I don't know, you know, like,
Definitely.
so, you know, it's like simple math. If I can't do simple math right, I really got to sit myself and be like, okay, like what can I actually do and be present for it? And then like,
Right.
where do I get to rest?
Yeah, I think that's important to just like notice, like realize like where you're at, and you can only do so much. So what can I do with what I'm working with right here and right now, and be just present in that, like you said.
Yeah.
That's good
So
advice.
all that is from the sleep. So I think the sleep for me is like the biggest, you know, the biggest one.
Did you take anything to try to sleep? I mean, CBD or THC, like marijuana. I mean,
oh, I'm like super dosed on THC. I'm like, I mean, I'm a super advocate for marijuana, and I like it. There's like so many applications for it.
yeah,
But like, unfortunately for me, like I haven't found it to help sleep through
yeah,
this, just because it's like, it's such like a, like, it does help me sleep for sure. Like, I can't say that, but it's not like a magical, like, I'm just going to knock out if I take like 1,000 milligrams of CBD or something for me
right.
personally. Um,
Did you
but
take
it
anything to
does help
help
with
you
the
with sleep?
anxiety. Was that?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you I was going to say, did you try to take, I'm sure you tried other things, but to help you sleep, and nothing, did you find anything
Uh,
helped you at all, or no?
yeah. I haven't tried anything like crazy narcotic, but I mean, initially I was trying Benadryl. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to try anything. I'm just gonna try Benadryl or whatever it
Hmm.
is, diet something. You know,
Hmm.
it's in everything. It's so crazy how everything's rebrand. Like this whole thing is like opens up my eyes to just like everything. It's wild. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like
Yep.
it's a weird gift. It's like it's like a bless. It's like a terrible blessing.
Yeah. I agree.
Uh, but yeah, I'm like looking at all these things. I'm like, all right, NyQuil, all right, ZQuil, all right, Tylenol PM, all right, Advil PM, all right, Benadryl. It's all the same chemical all that PM stuff. It's all the same
Yeah.
exact thing, you know. And then they have like off-brand sleep aids, and then like other like kind of it's like all the same stuff. I'm like, what am I looking at right now? It's like,
Right.
well, shelf. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with like still fall into the branding and marketing. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy
Yeah.
Benadryl. That's what I've been doing my entire life, and that's what feels safe. So like, they still got me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but so I
Did that
tried
help?
Benadryl. It kind of does sometimes, like rarely, but like really no. I'd find
Yeah.
myself like just crazy tired and awake.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, just like super duper drowsy, just like feeling like everything's worse now because I just can't sleep, and I'm like extra tired, and then I'll
Yeah.
finally fall asleep. Like eventually, you know, I'll maybe get like an hour or whatever, 2 hours, and
Yep.
then wake up like crazy drowsy the next day from it. So I'm like,
Yep.
all right, none of that. And then I like tried another one, hydroxine or something. It's like kind of like a similar thing. It's like kind of like a powerful antihistamine that also
Yeah.
is like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I got a prescription for that. Kind of the same thing. It just
That didn't do much for me either. Yeah.
yeah. And then I haven't gone to like heavy sleep aids yet because like I just don't feel right about it.
Same here. Yeah. Nothing. Nothing
I
wrong with
remember,
anyone. If anyone's listening to this, by the way, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, it was
all this
great,
stuff
like
is
by all means, go for it. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. Make
absolutely,
your own
yeah, all
individual
this stuff is
decisions.
fine. Like that's one big takeaway that I'm getting from this. Like everybody's journey through it is so unique, and like where they
Yeah.
are, their body, like everything is so unique. So yeah, like one thing that doesn't work for me, I definitely am not saying that I don't think it's good, just in my
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had like as a kid, I remember, because like even as a kid, oh my gosh, I'm itching a lot right now, scratching.
I
Um,
I am doing the same thing with my arms right now. So so it's all good. It's just a very
yeah,
itchy and loud podcast.
yeah. So
If you
as
need
a
to take a
kid,
break, you just let me, you can, you know.
okay, thank you.
Of course, of
As a
course.
kid, I tried some sleep aids because like it's kind of the same insomnia from this whole thing ever since a kid. So I remember trying something. I think it was like Nesta or something. I don't know what
Hmm.
the chemical is, but that one really hit me. I was like, these things are powerful. Like, this is some powerful stuff. I just remember, like, I was like, I took it, and I wasn't quite ready for bed yet. Um, but I was like going to bed. I was like still in my room, and then I remember kind of feeling it, and I was like staring in the mirror, being all weird, like
Yeah.
feeling kind of loopy. And
Yeah.
then and then it was the next morning. I was in my bed and I woke up and I was like, all right, I don't like that.
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
I don't like the feeling of blacking out. I've never, been
Mm-mm.
into being blacked out. So
Yeah. No.
that's like I'm like, okay, no. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't yeah. I'm like, I'll rather I'm like same thing. Maybe if I was in a position where I like same thing, like if I was on a 9 to 5, like
Right.
I might do it, but I'm like blessed to be, be in a position where I can work at 3 a.m. doing, my finances and stuff and go to sleep at 7 if I need to, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah. It's such a bizarre. I remember the first when I wasn't sleeping at all. I mean, I probably agree with you. It is brutal. I mean, it's got to be one of the top three. if not number one, it's got to be really, really high up there because it's just like you almost can't even recognize yourself because your behaviors, your thoughts,
yeah.
everything is so out of whack. And I would go days without any sleep at all. And then all of a sudden, so that's what's weird, right? You would take a Benadryl, and for me, I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess. And my mom, my boyfriend, my friends, they'd go, oh, did it work? I'm like, well, yeah, but then I thought about it. I'm like, well, actually, I didn't sleep for 4 or 5 days. So, and then I took it. So it's very possible that my body just was like, I'm shutting down for a
Right.
little
It's
bit.
almost like
I
anything
don't
would
know.
work at that point, right? It's like,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. So I don't know. What other than Benadryl and stuff, what are some of the things have you tried, other holistic, whether it was diet or a product or something? What are certain things that you have tried that did anything at all help you get any kind of relief that you noticed?
Yeah, so routines help me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with that, like having routines with like drinking teas and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
lately, and actually not so much lately. This is like a great reminder that I get to get back into practice. But um, my girlfriend Janice, I'll stop calling her my girlfriend Janice. She introduced me to some certain like herbal medicines. I've been kind of interested in it for years
Mm-hmm.
as I've been like doing, my cannabis thing and agriculture. It kind of all ties together. But
Mm-hmm.
she's been really diving deep and studying a lot. And she introduced me to burdock root
Mm-hmm.
and chamomile.
Mm-hmm.
I've used chamomile before, but like making burdock root and chamomile and tea together with like a little bit of milk and maybe honey or whatever, like any
Mm-hmm.
kind of little kind of thickening kind of feeling,
Mm-hmm.
warm, super calming for the nerves is really great.
That's
A
awesome.
couple other things that she really encourages me to do is also like oat straw water. I think she does like a cold extract of it or like cold brew, if you will.
Okay.
Oat straw, nettles is also, and a lot of these is not necessarily just like it helps sleep. Like starting to approach it as like looking at like treating the entire body
Yeah.
because there's just like a lot of things going on. Like once one thing unlocks, it's like goes to the next thing, or So I think there's just a lot there that still gets to really get looked at. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of these support and like repairing nerve damage, um, calming nerves. What I've been using for like to support my the lymphatic system is calendula.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking calendula tea, and what I'd also been doing is even making a calendula tea and then mixing a little bit of sea salt in it, and then
Mm-hmm.
using that to like dab on some of the open oozy spots. And it's calendula itself has astringent properties, So then mixed with the salt, it actually kind of helps close up the
Oh, that's
oozy
great.
spots kind of fast. Yeah, so I've been kind of like experimenting with kind of stuff like that, like little concoctions, but
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of like labor intensive. Like they're only like good for a couple days, you know.
Yeah.
So like make them and be on, you know, that like routine. But I
Yeah.
think that like when I am in that routine, it seems to help. I don't know. Maybe it's placebo, maybe it's not. But at the end of the day, what I'm really trying to do is activate my body's like healing response. So whatever,
Yes.
if it's placebo, these herbs are actually working. It's like the end goal is I feel like is being accomplished. So
Yeah, for
you know,
sure. Celebrate the
yeah.
wins no matter whatever's happening. If it's making you feel good, that's that placebo or real. It's all good. What I definitely want to respect your time, and I know that you're getting itchy and stuff, but I want to ask if there was any last thoughts on any topic that's like, you know, pulling on your heart, but also so that, and then also what words of advice or encouragement would you give to somebody listening right now that is either in the middle of this journey or they're just finding out they have to start it and they're a little nervous about it? What would you say?
I think well the biggest takeaway for me is really a humbling experience in a lot of ways, and it just as I allow myself to um, like gracefully push myself, I'm finding like a strength and a person inside of me that I'm like truly astounded by.
That's awesome.
Some days when I do like take the time to just acknowledge myself and like sit in reflection, I'm wow, you know, like wow, like you're really going for it, you know, like through all of this,
Yeah.
you know, and this is to everybody, you know, like who's like just wakes up every day, like you are you are going through this, you know, like
Yeah.
sometimes it's easy just to like downplay it, you know, especially because like the narrative around it, you know, it's like, oh, it's just your skin, or oh, it's whatever, it's not even real, or whatever. So it's like whatever, like okay, like you know, you just like get on with life because I mean, you know, like life goes on either way. But it's like you know, I've been to the suicidal thoughts, I've been through
Yeah.
just like the total, just the whole thing, you know, and like just to get up every day and like take care of your responsibilities and your family and your passions, like that's the biggest win, you know. And you know, you know, however long it takes, like I really do think it's worth it to I don't know, you know, see what's on the other side and step back into to that, to just
Yeah.
letting go, you know, like letting go of all these things that like we don't really need, you know, like why do I need, I was like one day I was like considering like getting a freaking fanny pack so I could carry around my hydrocortisone because like I could not go anywhere without it. It would be like not even like it's gonna be a bad day or like no, nothing's happening if I don't have
Yeah.
hydrocortisone. Like I'm gonna drive across town and get it and stop everything, like if I have to, because like
Yeah.
otherwise it's a bad day, and
Such
that's like
fear.
I don't
Yeah, that you
want to
need
be
it.
doing that anymore. And luckily I've been able to like see the other side, like really think I do. Like I know that like the flares come back in waves, but like last year, like it was like really amazing to actually experience it, even if it was for a few months, and then like I relapsed.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, whoa. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because I've been doing this for 30 years now, you know? And so like to just to be in this new world of just like, hey, like my skin's working. Like it's like working, like that skin that you look at, like their skin is just working all the time, whether they're sweaty or it's dry or they're dirty or there's just their skin is just working, you know?
Yeah.
Like and, you know, I was like, whoa, never really experienced it like that, you know. So just knowing what's on the other side,
Awesome.
you know, like I think that, you know, it's gonna be super worth it. So I think with
That's
that said,
awesome.
you know, weathering through this, like it's probably the hardest and worst, one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on the other side, I feel like it's making me into somebody who like I could never like get to without
without
like
it.
like trials like this, you know, like this is like a true trial and test of like, for me, like, you know, my self and just everything, like my commitment to well-being and my commitment to family and the world, and you know, my vision. Like it's wild just at this crux of my life to be like, it's just testing me. It's like, do you really want it? Are you really committed? Like, what are your intentions, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no hiding anymore,
Yeah.
you know? So I, you know, to just be able to wake up and, you know, it's not like that every second, you know. There's times where I'm like crying and I'm punching things and I'm making
Yeah, for
noise,
sure.
and I'm just, you know, like asking God questions, like, you know, mainly why.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like developing that habit of just like centering myself back and like what I'm committed to, what I want, who am I really, you know, and like where are we going, you know. It just like, you know, we're going somewhere, you know, we're
Yeah.
all going somewhere, we're getting there. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so beautiful and so amazing. What an awesome answer. I really want to thank you. I know that you're so busy between like trying to get sleep and trying to take care of yourself, but also building that farm. That is not easy. My uncle owns a big, like 200, 300 acre farm in New Jersey, organic farm, cows, chickens, pigs, produce, all of it. And it is
Awesome.
not an easy thing to start, but like to see that thing come to fruition and be like thriving, and it's just such an amazing thing. Like I can't wait for you to experience that. So you're gonna have to fill us all in on the you know, as it's going along and you're building it, and definitely want to stay connected and hear more about the farm as it grows and flourishes, and definitely also check back in and let us know how you're healing. That journey continues for you. But thank you so much, Luke. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, maybe we can chat again later in this year, you know, as
For
see
sure.
how the healing and feeling is going, and yeah, progress with the farm and how it's all tying together. And yeah, it was really
Absolutely.
awesome to chat with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you too. I hope you stop itching soon and feel great.
I'm not itching. I'm not itching.
Good. All right. Please. Love it.
All right.
All right, Luke. Have a great day.
Talk to you later, Jennifer.
Great. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. With your help, we can spread awareness together. So please share the show with anyone you know who may be struggling with a medical condition and using steroids to treat it. And be sure to check out the blog for helpful resources to aid you along your TSW journey at tswjourneytohealing.com.